Welcome back. Today we're diving into one of the most unbelievable recovery missions ever imagined, a story that feels like science fiction but unfolds with the tension, danger, and emotion of real history. This is the story of salvaging and restoring a legendary World War II-era nuclear submarine, lost to the ocean floor for decades, silent, forgotten, and waiting to be found. At the height of World War II, the oceans were battlefields just as fierce as the skies and the land. Submarines were the ghosts of the deep, unseen killers that could change the fate of entire fleets. In this secretive world of steel and shadows, rumors began to circulate among Allied intelligence about a revolutionary vessel. It was said to be a submarine unlike anything ever built before, powered by an experimental nuclear reactor long before the world officially entered the nuclear age. The project was buried so deeply in secrecy that even many top naval commanders dismissed it as myth. But the submarine was real, and its mission was so sensitive that its very existence was erased when it vanished. The submarine was launched quietly, without ceremony, without photographs, and without public records. Its crew was handpicked, sworn to silence, and trained not only as sailors but as guardians of a technology that could reshape warfare forever. The reactor at its heart promised nearly unlimited range, allowing the submarine to stay submerged for weeks without surfacing. In an era when diesel-electric submarines had to rise frequently for air, this was nothing short of revolutionary. But revolutionary ideas often come with deadly risks. On its final mission, the submarine slipped beneath stormy seas and never returned. No distress call was received. No wreckage was found. Officially, the vessel never existed, and unofficially, it became a ghost story shared in whispers among submariners. As the war ended and the world moved on, the ocean kept its secret, locking the submarine in a cold, crushing grave thousands of meters below the surface. Decades passed, technology advanced, sonar became more precise, deep-sea exploration more ambitious. Then, during a routine survey of the ocean floor for mineral mapping, an anomaly appeared on the sonar screens. At first, it looked like a rock formation, but its symmetry was wrong. Too smooth, too deliberate. Further scans revealed the unmistakable outline of a submarine hull, larger and stranger than anything officially documented from World War II. When historians and naval experts were quietly brought in, the shock was immediate. The dimensions didn't match known classes. The internal compartments, faintly visible through advanced imaging, suggested a design far ahead of its time. And then came the discovery that sent chills through everyone involved. Traces of radiation, faint but unmistakable, still lingering around the wreck. This was no ordinary submarine. This was the legend made real. The salvage operation that followed became one of the most complex and dangerous undertakings in maritime history. Governments denied involvement, funding was routed through classified channels, and crews were selected for both technical expertise and absolute discretion. The ocean floor where the submarine rested was hostile, with crushing pressure, near-freezing temperatures, and unpredictable currents that could destroy equipment in seconds. Before any attempt could be made to lift the vessel, remotely operated vehicles were sent down to inspect the wreck. Cameras revealed a haunting sight. The submarine sat upright, remarkably intact, its hull scarred but unbroken. The conning tower still bore faint markings, the paint long stripped away but the metal enduring. It looked less like a wreck and more like a sentry, still standing watch after all these years. Inside, the conditions were eerie. Through broken observation ports, the ROVs glimpsed personal items frozen in time, a helmet resting on a bunk, a notebook drifting gently in the water, instruments still bolted to control panels. The crew's fate was never fully visible, but their presence was felt everywhere. This was not just a machine, it was a tomb. The greatest concern was the reactor. No one knew its exact condition. Had it shut down safely, or had it partially melted, contaminating the surrounding seabed? Salvage engineers worked alongside nuclear scientists, modeling every possible scenario. One wrong move could rupture the reactor casing, releasing radioactive material into the ocean and turning a recovery mission into an environmental disaster. The plan was meticulous. First, the area around the submarine was stabilized with massive anchoring systems. Then, specialized lifting frames were lowered, designed to cradle the hull without stressing its aging metal. Each movement was slow, measured in centimeters, monitored constantly from the surface. The ocean does not forgive mistakes, and everyone involved knew that. As the submarine began its ascent, the tension was unbearable. Years of planning came down to hours of execution. Cables groaned under unimaginable weight. Sensors tracked pressure changes inside the hull. For the first time in decades, the submarine moved, rising from the darkness like a relic returning from the underworld. When it finally broke the surface, there was no cheering, no celebration. Just silence. The vessel was escorted to a sealed dry dock under heavy security. Only a handful of people were allowed to see it up close. Standing beside it, experts were stunned by its size and sophistication. Welds and design features hinted at engineering knowledge that seemed out of place in the 1940s. This submarine was not just ahead of its time, it was a glimpse into an alternate path history could have taken. Restoration began not to make the submarine operational, but to preserve it and understand it. Every bolt, every wire, every valve was documented. Corrosion was carefully removed, sections reinforced, and fragile components stabilized. The reactor was the most delicate challenge of all. Using robotic systems and shielding, scientists carefully dismantled and secured it, confirming that it had shut down safely before the submarine was lost. The crew, it seemed, had done their duty to the very end. As the interior was explored more fully, the human story emerged. Logs recovered from sealed compartments told of pride, fear, and growing concern over the reactor's stability. One final entry, written in a steady hand, described an emergency decision to dive deep and shut down systems to prevent a catastrophic failure. It ended abruptly, suggesting that time had simply run out. The restoration transformed the submarine from a classified mystery into a historical monument. While much of its technology remains secret even today, parts of the vessel were eventually declassified and displayed to the public. Visitors walk its narrow corridors, feeling the weight of history around them. They see the cramped bunks, the control room, the silent reactor compartment, and they sense the courage it took to serve aboard such an experimental craft. This submarine changed how historians view World War II. It proved that the race for advanced technology was even more intense and secretive than previously believed. It also raised haunting questions. How many other projects were lost to secrecy and fear? How close did the world come to entering the nuclear age under the pressure of total war? More than anything, the salvaging and restoring of this legendary submarine is a reminder of humanity's dual nature. Our drive to innovate and dominate can push us to incredible achievements, but it also places enormous burdens on the people tasked with carrying those ideas into reality. The crew of this submarine became pioneers and martyrs, their story hidden for decades beneath the waves. Today, the submarine no longer lies forgotten on the ocean floor. It stands as a silent witness to ambition, sacrifice, and the unforgiving power of the sea. Its steel hull, once crushed by darkness and pressure, now reflects the light, telling a story that was almost lost forever. And as we look at it, restored but forever marked by its journey, we are reminded that history is not just what is written in books, but what lies hidden, waiting patiently, far below the surface.